Hello, I'm Nari McDiarmid for Aspermont, and ahead of Future of Mining 2024, I'd like to introduce you to two companies who met at last year's event and could be considered rivals in the consulting space, but have come up with a new way to collaborate to provide mining companies with breakthrough performance. So I'd like to welcome Zoe Williams, Chief Executive of Australia-based Luminary Mindset, and Arjen de Bruin, Chief Executive of South Africa-based OIM Consulting. Thanks for being available this morning. And Zoe, could you start by explaining how the two of you came to come up with this collaboration?
Thanks, Nari. Yeah, so it was a meeting of minds at the Futures of Mining conference last year. I was there presenting on the main stage for the first time ever, actually, because the product that we've developed at Luminary Mindset is all about transforming the mining industry through people and mindset. I believe, having worked in the industry for many, many years now, there's a real need for a mindset shift because there's so many different targets that we're trying to achieve through the mining industry, not just churning out the tons safely, but it's now all to do with environmental targets, social targets, geopolitical constraints. So big need for this at the CEO level, all the way down through into the operational level, which is where we operate through to. And then when Arjen and I met, Arjen was interested because Arjen's product is actually about the frontline mindsets and behaviors, which is where the rubber hits the road, right? So that's where the performance needs to be implemented and embedded. My product did not go down to supervisor level, although our clients were asking it to go to supervisor level. And Arjen's product does go up into the senior leadership level, but not the depth of mindsets and belief system shift that my product does. So we got into a conversation and we were like, oh, hey, we should probably be in competition, but actually it makes more sense for us to work together because you've got something that I need and I've got something that you need. So why don't we give it a go? So we've now worked together. I've been to his client sites in South Africa. He's been to mine, and we're now putting some projects together in Australia as well. So global expansion for both of us. It's really exciting.
Well, Arjen, can you explain, given you have similar goals, how the two companies, Luminary Mindset and OIM Consulting, complement each other with this?
So in effect, I mean, if you look at Luminary Mindset and OIM Consulting, we're both people-centric consultancies. So in essence, we believe in transformation through individuals. So that doesn't mean we don't believe in digital. That doesn't mean we don't in process. But in essence, a company's effectiveness, capability, and efficiency is through people. And so what we basically, both of us as companies have in common is that we say, let's take the individual, let's maximize him through basic transforming who they are, changing behaviors, changing mindsets, getting to operate in a different way. And well, Luminary Mindset and us are basically, we totally linked there. We're more on a little bit on the supervisor side. Luminary is a little bit more on the higher side, and it's absolute, it's a, I won't say a match made in heaven, but we've got to be careful about those words. It's hand in glove type of stuff here. We impact literally the face of the organization, literally where the rubber hits the road. That's where the two companies come together and say that you have a massive impact there. So yeah, so I would say that's how we complement each other.
Well, Zoe, can I get you to provide a little more detail of how the rubber hits the road? How do mining companies benefit in terms of productivity and performance through your help?
Yeah, sure. So as Arjen said, the model that we've created at Luminary Mindset very much meets the needs of the senior leadership hierarchy within a mining organization. Why the senior leadership? Because we're dealing with what's below the sea level of an iceberg of a human being. So we're dealing with belief systems. We're dealing with the subconscious mindset of a leader and the leadership team so that they can powerfully lead an empowered, autonomous organization of thousands of employees, right? When I met Arjen, he said, oh, right, well, what we're doing is we're dealing with the habitual nature of the employees, those thousands. So we're dealing with their behavior, their habits that may or may not be providing great performance. So while I'm dealing with the mindset of the leadership teams that may or may not be creating a great performance culture, Arjen's methodology is dealing with the habits and behaviors that may or may not be creating performance at the front line. So when we bring those two methods and models together, it's like Arjen said, it's perfect because what I'm doing is I'm freeing up the leadership team from their mental models that are stopping the frontline workers from being able to execute on their shift productively and effectively and safely. And that's where Arjen's team come in, and they do in-person, on-the-ground coaching with the frontline leader, while I'm working with the superintendent, manager, GM, even all the way up to CEO, to unlock potential in the performance culture of the organisation. It's really good. It's amazing, actually.
Well, Arjen, Zoe mentioned some in-person coaching. What can companies actually expect when they're working with Luminary Mindset and OIM?
So in essence, what we can describe in two essences, Zoe and them are working with what we would call the culture creators, the people that set the culture. They set the standard of what the culture should be. And what we've noticed is oftentimes is your frontline leaders are not executing according to the culture that's needed. But if you don't have the right culture set up, then how are you going to actually implement it? And so if you take the right culture and ensure that that works, and that's Zoe's team does a great job there. Our job is actually to embed that culture by day-to-day coaching. And we call the supervisor the culture carrier. He is the person that carries your culture to the teams, to the face. And so when you're working together with the two of us, what you're going to get is a totally transformed culture, as in a radical rethink of how you've always operated. And then what's going to happen is it's going to be tightly embedded, and you're going to change routines. And once you start to see that turn, and changing human behavior is not a flick of a switch, to be honest. But once you start seeing this movement, and once everyone gets it, you start seeing the safety standards start improving. You start seeing efficiencies happening. You start seeing basically the whole consciousness of psychological safety start appearing. And what it does, it's over a period of time, you see the whole mindset shift of the company change, of the people change, and that's what you get when you take, both of I hate calling it products, but both of our ways of work, of our thinking. If you add them together and just bundle them up and say go for it, and no one will ever be disappointed by using this program, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Zoe, Arjen mentioned some ways that you'll see improvements, but could you provide some more specific outcomes, perhaps, of what mining companies can actually expect?
Absolutely. Well, like Arjen said, we've got we've never not been invited back to work with an organisation that we work with. So we've almost got 100% success rate, I would say. I think that's right,
Yeah.
isn't it? We've never had anybody say, no, you're not working, please go away. So it's 100% people want us back. And the reason for that is we deal with all performance outcome matters. So we peg our techniques to performance outcomes that are tangible. So the performance, cost, and safety, and people, right? So that's a given. That's the language of the industry, and that's what we do. Production goes up. Production cost management is improved and more effective. Safety improvements are recognised, and people metrics. So the employee engagement surveys, that kind of thing. That all improves. That's the standard. But as Arjen described, there's this whole other piece that comes with what we're doing as well, which is the cultural piece, where not only are people behaving differently, and you're seeing different activities and different outcomes, but you're also feeling something different. And this is really important, because I do believe in the mining industry, we're getting ahead of the curve on safety culture, and safety culture training and safety culture coaching is ahead of all other cultural performance culture coaching and training. And that's where we come in, because we're teaching an organization not just to improve its safety culture by being a visible felt leader, by being a coach leader, by being an empowering leader, but we're training and teaching our clients to do that in all areas of performance, not just safety. So safety uplifts, production uplifts, cost management is improved, initiatives. So mining companies have now got so many initiatives that they need to embed and implement from the center into the operation. We help align the leadership team around that, increase efficiency with the implementation of those, decrease lost time through those initiatives, many different performance outcomes. I think the key thing for people to hear in all of this is we have 100% success rate. We've never not been invited back, and we never fail to meet our objectives. So, yeah.
Arjen, Zoe mentioned the importance of this cultural shift. How valuable do you believe it is to the mining industry as a whole?
So, in essence, if you're going to try and do anything, whether you implement any new technologies or ways of working, that if you don't have a mindset change, we find a lot of that just is unsustainable. And so we always talk about your mindset changes first before you see any operational efficiencies. And that's why this is very important, because a lot of time and effort is spent basically doing stuff that really gets no traction. And if you work with us, you definitely get the traction. But if you take a little bit further, the program that we have here, what we want to do in the mining industry, and it has a massive impact on literally three core stakeholders. The one is the individual. We found is that when you complete work with an individual, and specifically us on the coaching side, I can tell you stories of individual supervisors that have come up to our coaches and literally introduced their wives, shook hands, and said, "You've changed my life." And that's powerful, because suddenly the individuals are going, "Wow, I feel empowered. I've been given the tools, the necessary ways of thinking of how to do things." So that's the one thing. The second thing is the company. Companies want to make their profits. And in commodity down cycles, what you really want to do is you want to control your costs here. So a more effective and efficient workforce, basically given the right tools and the mindsets, and you give them the skills to operate, what happens is that you can basically control your cost per ton, because you got a more effective thinking workforce. And the third thing is there's a spillover on the community. If the individual and the company is doing well, what happens is communities improve. There's more. Everyone starts making better bonuses. The company wants to expand. So when you do an initiative like this, if what you do is you're not just impacting a lone sole individual and a single site. The ramifications are actually quite big. And I know it sounds all airy-fairy, and I do apologize because we're in mining, but the truth is this is what happens. And it's powerful. I can tell you big stories about how this literally impacts people in a way more radical way than what we actually expect to understand.
Sounds like an absolutely powerful collaboration, and thank you both for your time today. I look forward to seeing you at Future of Mining 2024.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.